Welcome to the Power of Tribal Women E-Commerce mini-series. Today, we feature Margaret Jose, a successful business owner for 20 years, on the Coeur d'Alene Reservation.
Well, first I want to say, my cousin Richard Mullen used to, every time I saw him, he would say, he's no longer with us today, but, and then also, I'd like to say Tots Mewe to my Nimipu friends and relatives. I'm pretty fortunate, I feel, because I come from this perspective of having served all three branches of tribal government: the legislative, the judicial, and executive branch. And just maybe as a front runner, reflecting our family history with Zachariah giving up his life in the Battle of Steptoe Butte. Early on, while working for the Coeur d'Alene tribe, Joe Gary, chairman of the Coeur d'Alene tribe, had sent a letter to the Idaho State Attorney General seeking clarification on excise taxes and exemptions. He received a letter that the tribe was exempt from excise taxes, including cigarettes and gas. After that letter was received, a small business group formed in the office with the specific intention of selling cigarettes. At the time, in addition to the office business, there was also one small business in Level Valley, a trailer. They sold their inventory to our family, and we started our smoke shop on allotment 371, which is on Highway 95. In those days, and like today, everyone pays the federal tax on each pack. There was no tribal tax or federal tax to be collected at the end of the year. Basically, we just had the cost of product overhead. Today, one has to decide how they want to form their business when applying for an EIN number through the IRS. Be it a corporation, an LLC, or private individual ownership. Since 9/11, in order to have a business bank account, one has to register with the Secretary of State's office in Boise, Idaho. Today, tribal businesses are still bound by tribal legal structure and policies and pay tribal taxes, which presently are paid when we purchase our inventory by any given vendor. And early on, it was interesting. My brother Louis, who had a business for quite a few years, he told me, first thing, get a CPA, because he was so-called randomly audited for several years. That's how much they watched our businesses. Back in 1968, unemployment was very high. Our family court case was taken to court to stop the selling of cigarettes without the state excise tax. Our father had numerous charges on him, and the jury in St. Mary's, Idaho, found him not guilty of all charges. The court case eventually ended up before the Idaho State Supreme Court, and it went up to the Supreme Court twice. The second time, the Coeur d'Alene tribe entered the case, and we all prevailed. In late '99, I'm giving you this history because it's something that happens periodic. In the state of Washington, there were all kinds of wars with tribes, the fishing wars and the cigarette wars. And many people had to deal with the court system. In late '99, I needed a change and decided to retire and work once again in the tobacco business. Around 2003, we again entered court, but this time they took us through the state of Washington and the federal system. We appealed through the 9th in Seattle, Washington, but because of a case that involved a Puyallup man, a precedent had been determined. And boy, that's why I loved our Ruth Gator Ginsburg, because she challenged precedents, and they need to be challenged because many times they're immoral. They may be legal, but they're immoral. And it was determined, The Puyallup tribe is like our tribe. It's an executive order tribe. Our brothers and sisters of the who we had dealt with quite a bit, the Yakima tribe is a treaty tribe, and they prevailed in their court cases, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And the Nez Perce tribe has the same exact language as the Yakimas. And just a few things that I would recommend if that's a possibility. In the future, I would encourage that our tribe develop a clear definition of tribal sovereignty and share it with our people, staff, and teachers so that they in turn can teach our children. It needs to include our language and its historical belief by our elders that have gone before us. I encourage that we develop a strong tribal negotiators to lobby for change and not to be included in a couple of trips to DC a year in a 3-minute report to Congress. I also encourage more tribal members to become lawyers, doctors, nurses, teachers. We need members that are invested and care about our history, perspectives, and goals. We need to start them young. Tribal school is an excellent resource and institution that we are so fortunate to have that resource and all its potential and possibilities. On to pros. I love my customers and enjoy serving them and bantering with them. They're a lot of fun. The cons are keeping competent staff, tracking inventory, and keeping books balanced. Those are my least favorite things. And also, the tobacco corporations are really monitoring everything we do, and they really try to minimize and control how much and how many cartons we can sell. I'm throwing that out there because that happens and is still happening. Getting back to a type of leader, Joe Gary knew systems, and he knew our language, and he could communicate with our people, our tribal members. And he could also communicate with those, and he was instrumental in AT&I, Affiliated Tribes Northwest Indians, and he was president of the National Congress of American Indians. And then he could communicate with state and federal agencies, and they respected him much. We have leaders like Chief that can do that today, and also Ernie Stensker. But we need to encourage and grow more potential leaders that can do that for us. These are just a few of the things that I would encourage. I know this is a women's, but these are the things that I have gone through over the years since I was 23. And it was much easier to work for the tribe, but limited.